Hello, this is Evan Vandenberg, the Director of Business Development at WAX, Worldwide Asset Exchange, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to REKT Podcast. I am Bunchu alongside my esteemed colleague and co-host Crypto Chamber. Chamber, how you doing, buddy?
Doing very well today. Speaking to a professional interviewee, I guess. This guy, we weren't sure what to expect. We have a lot of people on the show, and some people kind of come in like a glove and fit perfectly. And I think that's what we have here today with Evan from WAX. So I'm pretty excited. It makes my job a heck of a lot easier. I'll tell you that much.
You know, I make your job a heck of a lot easier.
Well, yes, I know. A lot of people make my job a heck of a lot easier. I'm going to be honest.
Anyway, yeah, we have a very special guest for you today, Evan Vandenberg from the Director of Business Development for Wax.io. Evan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, guys. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So we are stoked to have you. So just a little background on how we ended up, setting this interview up. We'll get to all the details in a moment, but I personally am a huge sports card collector, and I'm very into collectibles of all kinds. And you guys announced a partnership with Topps the other day to start putting blockchain or collectibles, cards, all that kind of stuff on the blockchain with Topps. So I immediately was made aware of that because people know that I'm into that stuff, and I was like, all right, let's get somebody on. So I got to tell you, Panini, who's another big card company, did something similar with blockchain and their cards. And we were trying to get somebody on to talk to us from there, and nobody would come talk to us. So you're already ahead of the game.
Yeah, and I saw the Panini thing come out. You know, it was funny. It was kind of it was serendipitous, just in terms of timing, because we were very, very deep in discussions and planning with Topps, and Panini kind of went off and launched this thing on Ethereum, which was interesting. I think it actually kind of helped, light a fire and get everybody, hey, we need to get going on this. People are stepping in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty cool. But before we get into all of that, let's get a little background on you. So how did you get yourself into, crypto and Wax, and how did you become, what's your background? How did you become the business development director over at Wax?
Yeah, guys, I've worn a lot of hats. So my background, educationally was engineering. Studied bioresource engineering over at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. Worked for Intel for a few years in kind of more commercial capacities, doing partnership management, a little bit of engineering stuff as well. And then started kind of moonlighting as a developer for mobile apps. So I just had a few ideas that I wanted to build. Tried to go down the route of asking other people to help me build it, realized that wasn't going to work. So taught myself how to code, ended up finding a really, really solid business partner, and him and I spent like 2.5 years kind of building our own apps, helping other people build theirs, which took me to, ultimately we had to actually pay our bills, and we were living in San Francisco. So we had to kind of shut that down and turn it into a consulting business at one point. And then I hated consulting in that particular way. It's not fun, at least for me. I like to see things grow. I like to really be personally invested in stuff. So it was I didn't like to just kind of build and let go. So I ended up running product over at a company called Upsite, mobile analytics, ad mediation. Did all the mobile analytics for Pokemon Go's launch, which was a pretty wild and exciting time. And then what kind of got me back into the crypto space was really Ethereum coming out. So right when Ethereum was in its very early days, one of the developers who was working with me at Upside, I'll throw him a shout out, Dennis Chan. He kind of introduced me to Ethereum, both from an investment and speculative point of view, but then also we started getting into actually building dApps and deploying them to mainnet. And so him and I started working on some, more just to like learn about it projects. And I think that kind of opened up the floodgates for me. And the timing couldn't have been better. This was probably like April of 2017, and by the time we were deep in it, it was getting towards that epic bull run we had. And so during that time period, I knew I wanted to make a switch into blockchain. Started pinging William Quigley, our CEO, on emails once a week for about 6 months until he finally agreed to grab coffee. The rest is kind of history. Got a job offer after that, and kind of have been here and moved my way up a little bit, and yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, what specifically about Wax and it really kind of got you going that's what you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, so I think it's twofold. I think when I was looking at different projects in the space, one, I obviously wanted to find a project that I thought had some legs, and a team that actually had some success. Wasn't just kind of a couple of guys who got into blockchain, wanted to throw an ICO together and run for the hills. The other thing was just kind of like where I knew I could bring value. We had been in the gaming space, primarily mobile games, in my last job, and had some decent connections there. Was doing a lot of the kind of sales engineering and then ultimately sales there at that company, and so it built some strong networks in the gaming space. And it was kind of a combination of, there's a handful of companies I wanted to work for, and then where could I provide value? And looking at William and some of the other founders of this company and kind of what they had done, I mean, it was a pretty easy decision to head this way.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, so tell us a little bit about what Wax does. I'd heard of it prior, but I always associated it with gaming for whatever reason, and I never, I guess, really took a closer look. So talk to us about what Wax is, what they do, and how everything works over there.
Yeah, so I totally understand the kind of inclination to like kind of associated with gaming. That's certainly the way it's a bit of the way we positioned ourselves. It's also just kind of where we've where our past has led us. We ran opskins.com for many, many years, the same founding team, and that was the world's largest peer-to-peer network for digital game items. So that was like Counter-Strike skins, Dota 2, all of that, and that was a massively successful business. So we learned a lot from that. Obviously, we have good connections in that space, but realistically, what Wax is really, it's just the most. I look at it as the most convenient, easy, and user-friendly way to transact digital goods. Primarily NFTs, but I think we've done stuff with real life items that are tokenized, and I think we're exploring other avenues outside of strictly gaming. So there's that. If you want to get into a bit more of the technology side, we have leveraged EOS.io as the technology of choice for our ecosystem. We run a delegated proof of stake chain. Very similar in many respects to the way EOS mainnet is run. I believe with significant improvements in terms of governance and kind of the way we operate. But we can get into those details if you want.
I think you'd blow Chambers' mind with the tech side of it.
That's a fair point.
What do you think, Chamber?
Yeah, I think it would blow my mind, literally and figuratively. But no, I'm more. I'm interested. So is Wax on its own segregated blockchain, or is it on the EOS blockchain?
No, absolutely its own chain. So it's its own public chain. We just happened to when we were evaluating the space and we knew we wanted to build a chain. We were evaluating different consensus mechanisms and things that would give us, the fundamental technological infrastructure that we needed to actually process the businesses that we wanted to build. Mm-hmm. And so DPoS is realistically the only thing that existed that could even come close to what we needed. There's a long story that we go into later about, we tried to do one type of asset on Ethereum with Opskins, doing the trading volume that we were doing. And it was like an outrageous, 7-figure type fees in one day.
Wow.
So we knew that was the proof of work, in many ways is has been very well proven out, and Ethereum and, Bitcoin are clearly the two largest players in the space. But for doing real transaction volume and for a lot of the use cases, we needed to find something that had higher throughput, was much more efficient and timely, and so DPoS was really the answer there.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you mentioned that it's kind of the worldwide asset exchange, right? So you can kind of do a little bit of everything on here. So I'm looking, at the wax.io website. So it talks about, a global community of collectors, traders, buyers, sellers, creators, gamers, merchants, dApp creators, and game developers. It also talks about being able to buy and sell gift cards on there as well. Can you talk about a little bit about that? That's something that's new to me.
Yeah, so I will say one thing: the homepage is definitely in a overhaul state. But yeah, so. Do you want to? It sounds like you're focused on the gift card portion. I can kind of tell you where that whole thing started.
Yeah, that one just kind of stuck out to me because I had never really heard of a use case for that.
So it was realistic. We had this product called Virals that we launched, I think December of 2018, and this was on our beta chain. And what Virals was virtual in real life items. So clever little VIRL. And what it was we were tokenizing, so we actually had warehouses, very secure warehouses, with things like rare collectible Jordans and kind of a plethora of different physical items that were tethered quite literally to a token-based, a wax-based NFT. So what that allowed is kind of this ability to almost trade physical items, collectible items, like stocks. So you could do that. You could show them off to your friends. We were working on some different AR projects with some different people in terms of being able to actually kind of showcase your collectibles, your digital collectibles in an AR realm, so to speak. So long story short is credit cards actually just kind of fell into our laps, or not credit cards, sorry, gift cards. Gift cards is a wild business. I don't know how much time you guys have spent looking into that, but what a great thing for, not for consumers, to be fair, but for businesses. The amount of breakage they get on that, where like unused dollars, right? Somebody goes and basically hands you $200 in hopefully gives that card to somebody else, but like no matter what, there's always like some amount of money left on those cards, almost always, right?
It's so funny. It's so funny you say that. I literally, my daughter just came back from the store with my wife this afternoon. She comes downstairs in my office with a Roblox gift card.
Oh, nice.
To load up her, her Roblox on her, dollars on her iPad. And I plug it in, and I notice, I didn't even realize that, we've gotten her a couple in the past, but I think there's $5 or $6 left that was unused, and we bought some more. So it's kind of tricky. You get the dollars that goes onto the site, and then you convert those dollars to these Robux, and many dollars, you're 100% correct, don't get used whatsoever, and they're just kind of lost in the abyss.
It's crazy. Think about how wild that is, though, for the actual business that sells that card, right? You just got like $20 for doing nothing, Right. So in any case, part of the reason, and that's really not why we got into that space, that was just more of when I started doing market analysis on that sector, I was just like blown away by like how big that business was. But we got into it because payments are extremely hard to get in digital item space. So obviously when you do things on an exchange, right, you have to do all this KYC. Scan your passport, take pictures of you next to a current newspaper. I've been asked to do all sorts of things, right? And so getting payment mechanisms that allowed people to buy digital goods was really helpful. And then it's almost like also kind of acts as a stable coin in some respects if you use credit card or gift cards the right way. So it was more of a test than anything else, and just kind of a way to see if people wanted that. And ultimately, I think we learned some interesting stuff, but we decided to really just kind of focus on our blockchain infrastructure and really kind of building out that side of our business. And so, we stepped away from that whole Opskin side of things.
That's interesting. So how the in real life collectibles piece, is that something you guys still do? So
we paused it, and I would love, and I mean love, to see somebody pick that up. We definitely have thought about investing. Basically what it came down to was we only have so many resources and people and time, right? And I think that particular industry needs a full-time company running it, like to do virals correctly. I think we would love to get back into it, and or fund other projects who are interested in doing that themselves on the Wax blockchain. I think it's such a cool concept. Even with like Topps trading cards, how cool would it, like, I think you could do like a whole warehouse of physical Topps cards and then make tokens for them, and you could actually have like a whole new asset class, which probably don't need to go into on this call, but I do really think that there's a huge market coming in that kind of this kind of virtual in real life space, and I think it's coming quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that is something specifically that I have always had, a real interest in, because, and I think you're right. I think it is coming quickly, and specifically, the more and more I'm getting into, like the sports card collectibles space, I can see it happening with something like that, right? Where you have a vault, and not only just from the tokenization but there's also the authenticity piece of it. There's
100%.
There's the tracking piece of it, where now I can see every transaction that's ever happened. So say you're even at a physical show, right? And you can just now scan a barcode or something, and it can show you the life of that entire token, right? So what somebody paid for it. So, you could be doing price comparison on it and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a huge opportunity. I think it definitely will come. Is that kind of the same kind of feeling that, you guys had over there?
Yeah, I think you just did an incredibly good job of explaining, why, the value of it. I think you hit almost all the key points. I just think that ultimately it's a fundamentally better way to invest in those assets than physically collecting them, right? Like there's like, other than being able to showcase them, right? If we take that aside, which is totally a valid use case for them and something a lot of people want to do, but if you're looking at it from a speculative and an investment standpoint, how could you possibly argue with it, right? I mean,
sure.
Now all of a sudden you've got instant liquidity. I mean, one of the big problems with that market in general is most people are trading these things in persons at conventions, or they're finding people in Facebook groups or eBay,
or
right? There's so
eBay,
many
where there's
fraud and everything.
eBay's fees and fraud and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, I think like the authentication as well. Like I bought during the holidays. One of my colleagues, I had purchased like an autographed picture. I don't know. Do you guys know Don Cherry?
Yeah.
The hockey coach. So I got an autographed picture of Don Cherry for this guy for his office. And I have no idea whether I got it from a, quote unquote reputable collector. But I have no idea if this signature is authentic or not. It looks okay. I mean, it's written in marker. But I mean, besides that, like that's really all I could do. I just, took his word on it. But I think, blockchain and, what you guys are doing could probably help with authentication as well. I'm assuming to a pretty big extent.
Yeah. And we actually, two things. One, I'm going to send you guys an article after this. It's actually something called, I think it was the Topps 500 compared to the S&P 500, just as a investment vehicle over the last 60 years. And it's outperformed the S&P 500, I think, by 11% year over year since that time period.
Really?
Yeah, it's Gary Vaynerchuk and some of those guys are really jumping into that space, and they're really promoting it.
Gary V's spending like millions of dollars buying up cards. It's insane.
Yeah, I need to talk to that man. It would be great to connect with him on kind of the intersection of cards and blockchain. But yes, to get to your other point about authenticity and provenance, right? I mean, I think those are huge, right? With this Topps deal, like if we with these GPK cards, for instance, like Topps was the Genesis block. There's no possible way that anybody else with the originator of that content, and now you can see like all of these different people who've owned it. Within Topps, they have their own kind of celebrities and influencers, certainly in the sports world, that could do giveaways with them as well, right? Give them out to fans, and that Ken Griffey had those cards, or whatever relevant baseball player. I was about to say Altuve, but that's a horrible reference at this point in time. But I think you guys get what I'm saying, where it's like provenance. There's the pricing factor, where you can actually see the true amount of dollars that were spent on every single purchase, and when, by who. I mean, there's all sorts of great things there.
Yeah, this is something that I've actually been looking into for a really long time. It's something that's super exciting to me. And then, like I said, the more and more you get into the sports card side of it, I think you're totally right. Where, you get you thinking about, okay, well, when you actually physically hold these cards, are you showcasing them? Yeah, maybe. But if they're not out, if they're just in your office, for you to look at, really kind of that's it, right? But if you think about the more and more people that are coming into that space from like an investment standpoint or a flipping speculative standpoint, you're seeing like there's now consignment houses like that'll post stuff for you on eBay, and they will hold your stuff in like a vault almost, right? And so you keep your stuff there, and you buy it and sell it and flip it and trade it all through them. And then if you ever needed it, they'll send it to you. But I can see the same thing happening with, a tokenized version of these cards. So it's super interesting. But I guess, go ahead.
No, I was saying we literally saw that exact behavior with the virals last year. I mean, there were hundreds of millions of dollars worth of actual trades just on these, like, we'll call it handful of products. So they were trading, on average before they ever got redeemed, right? I mean, the items that did get redeemed were getting redeemed after like 13, I think it was like 12 or 13 trades. So if you collect 5% fees on that, like, you can see where like this becomes an incredibly healthy business. I mean, and you could obviously lower fees with volume and other things, man. Just having this conversation like makes me want to,
right?
go pitch William on this again and go start this. But anyway,
I'll send you my resume.
Yeah, we'll have to talk later.
That's funny. But so then I think that's a pretty good segue to go into kind of the Topps partnership, which is what, was super interesting because, like I said, we're sitting here and we're talking about, real world applications for what blockchain can do, right? So, and you see it with, obviously Panini just did their thing as well, and now you guys in Topps are doing it as well. These are huge companies, right? Like, I mean, giant companies that are seeing the value in blockchain. So, how did the whole Topps, partnership come about?
Yeah. So it's actually it's a longer story than probably meets the eye. This has been going on since, I think, quite literally the week after I started working here. And, it's not, and truthfully, I'm not trying to like give anybody a hard time on it taking too long. Like, there really was a lot of fundamental problems, man. Imagine if you are an IP owner and you own really valuable IP, and that's how you make your livelihood. And then you see this thing like called blockchain, and it seems really interesting for what you're doing, but there's some things with blockchain that are really, really antithetical to the way that IP, rights management has been done so far, right? If you're licensed something for 2 years, like, blockchain's a kind of a tough sell because it's immutable. Now these people have these things in perpetuity. Like, there is this immutable, ability there. And so there was a ton of discussions back and forth from both the legal perspective, from the licensor perspective, the licensee perspective, and really trying to kind of, this isn't just a deal with Topps, right? I think that what we did with Topps is we created a legal framework and a technical framework that we're going to be introducing with their upcoming GPK cards that I think is really going to bring a lot more people into the space, or at least make it palatable for some of these bigger companies. Part of that is, if they are going to give up their valuable IP, getting a piece of the secondary market. Not a big piece, nothing too crazy, but, if you're originating this content and you own it and you're paying for it, getting, a small piece of that every time it transacts for fiat or for crypto, I think was a necessary, avenue that we had to explore, and building NFT standards and trading infrastructures that enable that and secure that. Took some time. So I think
that's a really interesting point too, because I mean, right now they don't. You know what I mean?
No, it's the wild, wild west now. I mean, once you throw that shit out there, it's out there, right? And now,
and the thing is with cards now, like, if you're, so for example, say we're just talking about Bowman baseball cards. They only make so many, right? And so even once all of them are bought from Topps, that's it. Topps makes no more money off of them, right? So, and guess who makes all the money? The Gary V's or someone like me who pulls a card from a pack and goes and resells it for twice as much as I bought it for, right? So, and now Topps is sitting there holding the bag. So I get the fact that, you'd want to explore avenues for that if you're a company like Topps, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think for a long time, right, they've been excluded from the secondary market in nearly all respects. Most of the value extracted from these cards isn't the initial purchase, right? You buy a pack for $5-10. That card could be worth $100,000 in 20 years, right? And they've had no piece of that historically, and they've been really reasonable about percentages and not trying to interrupt that business for too much. But as opposed to a small NFT exchange operator taking all of that benefit, it gives them some skin in the game, and hopefully keeps them promoting it and bringing in new content. And there's lots of factors that come into this into this play.
Yeah, for sure. So now, how will it actually work? How does the whole platform work? How do people, buy, sell, trade these things? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I actually just did a product review this morning. Without giving away too much, the platform itself, it's going to be a full-fledged DApp. It'll be one of the best DApps out there, period, if not the best. You'll have a ecosystem for being able to buy these with credit card or fiat. To get the initial cards in the market. There will be, secondary marketplaces to go sell them. There will also be a really cool, unique trading structure and kind of community element to it as well. So it's not like we're just getting their IP and printing cards and throwing them into into the ecosphere. This is a very thought through kind of project. And I think, the launch will be really, really fun and exciting.
Chamber, what do you think of all this?
Well, I was going to say, now, you'd said, obviously, the initial conversations with this started, shortly after you had started with Wax. Did the market, obviously, the market suffered shortly thereafter, in 2018 to 2019.
Yeah.
And, it's starting to come back around now. Did that have an effect on what Topps was kind of seeing? Did they have a little bit of hesitation going in 2018, 2019? Did that slow it down, or was it just getting, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, getting everything across the finish line?
It's kind of hard for me to answer. To be fair, my kind of my point of contact, my counterpart over there who runs digital at Topps, I think Tobin's been really keen on this for a long time. I think he's been a very forward-thinking person in the space. So I really genuinely, in my heart of hearts, don't believe that that's what slowed it down, at least for him. I don't think that they follow the crypto markets incredibly closely either.
Right.
Generally they know it probably wasn't going as well as it had been in 2017, but they've got a huge business they're running that has nothing to do with crypto, right?
Exactly.
But I don't know. I'd have to ask. But my hunch is digital's clearly the way to grow, with the younger demographic, and blockchain just really fits this use case. We're not trying to cram this technology into somewhere it doesn't fit in this case.
Yeah, and I also feel, Bunchu, this is his wheelhouse. But just as an outsider, when I was a kid, obviously I collected, baseball cards and hockey cards here growing up in Canada. But I don't know what the overall market was, say 5-10 years ago. Was it as, and does it go through peaks and valleys of popularity? And when you incorporate the blockchain side of things, like you said, it's just this whole it could be a whole new era for these types of collectibles. I don't know how popular collectibles were 5-10 years ago. Maybe Bunchu could answer that one a little bit better than I could. But.
Well, when we were kids, Chamber, and you had all your hockey cards and all your baseball cards or whatever, that's kind of known as the junk era of cards.
Okay.
So, and the reason being, so when I just said, once Topps sells out all their all their
That's it.
sets, right? Because what they used to do back in the 80s and early 90s is they would just print more and print more and print more. And then what happened was all these people would buy them up and think they were going to appreciate in value. And really, the card companies were just diluting the market.
Just being the Federal Reserve about it is basically what they're
right,
doing.
pretty much. So now they try really hard not to do that anymore, and because obviously what makes a collectible worth something is scarcity, right? And
Exactly.
so that's kind of I think the point earlier about the secondary market piece and why it would be interesting to someone like a collectible manufacturer or someone like that. You know what I mean? Because right now that is an avenue of them to grow without polluting the market with more products.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
In my opinion, could just be like
Exactly.
obviously a whole new renaissance for collectibles, like Evan, you had mentioned bringing in a younger generation that's maybe a bit more tech savvy, but maybe a bit more into blockchain. I just see so many possibilities as somebody that's used to be into it as an adult, kind of didn't really have an eye on that community. But I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer when it comes to collectibles. It just seems like it would do extremely well. So yeah, I know I'm excited for it. I know Bunchu's been excited for this for a very long time. So it's exciting to talk to somebody that has a little bit more in-depth analysis on what's actually happening. So it's good.
What I think is cool too, and I don't know if you've Evan talked to Topps about this. I mean, they've kind of been looking at the digital piece for a long time before the blockchain, really
Absolutely.
became, because they have that whole, with their baseball thing, they have the app, the Bunt app, and all of that, where essentially it's kind of digital versions of these of cards now. They're just not really, not exactly the same, but they've been doing stuff like that without blockchain for a while, right?
Yeah, and have been quite successful doing it. I mean, I think, I was reading articles before we jumped into this, a long time ago. And yeah, Bunt was one of the better performing, I mean, at least from a revenue perspective, apps in the entire app store, at points. So there is certainly an appetite for the digital cards, guys. Like that was something that we looked into deeply before, investing the resources, time, all of that. Like, people are willing to, are interested in doing things with digital cards and digital collectibles. I think we've found the right use case for it, like the right technology. And then if you guys have used our Wax Cloud Wallet, I think it's a really, really good segue for people to get introduced to blockchain, where you can just sign in with your social accounts or email and password, and we spin up a wallet for you. It's a very clean interface. You don't have to deal with MetaMask or going to buy crypto. Like, you could, in theory, just buy these cards with your credit card, and then have a whole portfolio of cards in your Wax wallet, and you can trade those freely.
It's interesting, yeah.
So I think it's really like that was a key piece that we had to get there, because a lot of collectors aren't familiar with that, and it would be such a hard sell and be really hard to get any sort of mainstream adoption of somebody having to go to MetaMask, right? Let's just be fair. I think current wallet solutions as a whole are really cumbersome and have been one of the bigger deterrents for this technology making more progress into the consumer space.
Yeah, I would agree on that. I mean, especially with thinking about, who's buying cards now. It's usually in person, in cash at a card show or on eBay or, with PayPal or something like that. So the interface has to be that easy for it to catch on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I went to this, it was like one of the larger collector conventions in Long Beach last year, and it was so mind blowing. I just basically went, I just got in the car, went down there, and just wanted to see how collectors were collecting and trying to just talk to as many people as I could for 2 days and figure out what were the ways they were doing things. And I was just came back so, not to be cheesy, but invigorated and enthused about it. I was just wow, this is ridiculous that this is still being done this way. Coins, stamps, these are multi-billion-dollar a year annual trading value markets, and these people are literally flying in from all over the world to come to conventions like this. I think partially it's the social aspect, and they like to talk to people of like-minded ideas, and I don't want to remove that entirely. I still like that. But giving them a much better medium of exchange, I think, is certainly going to ultimately take over.
Yeah, I totally agree. Cool. Chamber, what else you got?
As far as question goes, I mean, the enthusiasm is at a peak in my opinion. I think this is fantastic.
I'm gonna get you into cards.
Slowly but surely, man. Slowly but surely. I think this is going to be the route, the Topps Wax, partnership. I think the ease of use. I also like the idea of. I remember when I was a kid. And collect the whole set kind of thing, where you would get I think I got I want to say the 92, 93. Do you guys? I don't know if scorecards were big. Maybe it was Pro Set. It was hockey. I was big into hockey cards, and Pro Set was the big one. I think at the time, 92, 93. I want to say, and I collected the entire set, like the entire, and it was great. But I mean, I think on the digital side, getting like bonus or like getting prizes, you know what I mean, for collecting entire sets of something, I think could be easily manageable on kind of using this route. You know what I mean?
I wonder 100%. I wonder if you could stake your card.
Ooh, dude, there's so many things you could do. I mean, we could go on for days. I mean, there's microfinancing and things you could do using cards as collateral. The lots of different things with like on-chain oracles with scores and stats and things like you guys are talking about. Also, exactly, completing sets and getting bonus things. I mean, or even in the case of somebody who wants to, you could actually get a physical card sent to you if you collect all the digital ones or whatever. We've spitballed about this in every time I have this conversation, like other people bring in new ideas. So this is one of those spaces where I'm really excited to see what other people come up with,
Yeah, super interesting. I think Panini, when they did it, they had, so all the ones that they released them in like a, in waves. I think they did 100, and they would release them at 10 at a time. And it started kind of like Dutch auction style, where every couple minutes the price would go down until somebody bought them, right? And then that's what they go for. But each card that they released was a unique one-of-one card, right? So there was not more than one. And, I mean, they were going for like thousands of dollars. And they went for, and then they would send you, so you would get the blockchain piece, so you would get the digital card with the, its tokenized version, and then they actually sent you a physical version of that card as well, so you were the only one that had it. I think the scary thing to me would be, okay, well, what if I could technically sell them separately, right? And that would be interesting. I'm not really sure how that would work, but I think the demand is there. People were paying thousands of dollars for these things.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, I don't know a ton about exactly everything about what they were doing. I didn't realize that they would actually send you a physical one. That's interesting.
They did, yeah. They sent you
a physical
one of one. Yeah, it was.
That is neat.
Yeah, so their physical one of one was signed and sent to you, and then you obviously got your digital one as well. The digital one, and they were all like, I think most of them were like patch cards and relic cards, where it had like game used or worn material in it. So, which is interesting because that's easy to do on a digital card. You can get like the perfect piece. On the physical cards, I'm interested to see how they actually came out. I didn't buy any because I didn't have thousands of dollars to spend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the prices right now, and it's like $47,000 the entry point for some of these.
I'm not sure if that's is that the auctions that are going on now, or is that so? Yeah, what they'll do is, I think every 5 minutes the price goes down, and when I was looking at like the ones that sold, they were getting down to like 2,500, anywhere from like 15 to 2,500. $3,000 for some of them. I think the Zion one sold for a ridiculous amount of money.
I mean, I'm looking at one Zion Williamson, $15,673. So
right,
you're gonna want to hang on to that one.
Maybe. No kidding. It's pretty nuts, but
I do love Zion though.
Yeah, his stuff is going insane. So. Anyway, cool. Yeah, I think, is there anything else that you want to tell us about, the project specifically, Wax itself, anything that you don't think we covered that you wanted to?
I mean, I think we covered a lot. I think, we kind of we bounce a bit around a bit, but I think, we kind of talked about this digital collectible space. I think, in terms of what's to come, I mean, we're working on a lot of different things. I think this has opened up a ton of doors, especially with people that we were already in conversations with, and kind of getting those to the next level. So I'm really excited in terms of bringing on new partners over the next, few months here. Yeah. And other thing is, next week we are launching a worker proposal system. So maybe, you guys and I can put together a proposal for this digital trading card vault idea.
Yes.
But basically it's let's call it a DAO, operating as a venture capital fund purely with the goal of expanding the Wax network. I think there's something like $3 or $4 million worth of tokens in there to fund different projects on the platform. So,
wow.
Excited to get that out there. We've got a lot of really good devs, and I think, it's about time that they, got supported financially in terms of their contributions and really to just kind of light a little bit of a fire under people to bring new ideas to the table.
That's really cool. Awesome. All right. So, Chambers, shall we go into some rapid fire?
We should.
All right. I'm going to let you start it off here.
All right.
Oh, man.
So
I feel like I've talked the whole time.
Yeah, well, I want it. Normally, I really get in there and take over a lot of these conversations, but I knew this was your wheelhouse. I wanted to make sure you asked all the appropriate questions. So with REKT Rapid Fire, Evan, what we like to do is just to get to know our guests a little bit better. Obviously, the project, all these new things are terrific, but sometimes our listeners want to know the man behind the job. You know what I mean? So we'll start with a couple of softball questions. Maybe we'll get into some harder ones here. I'm going to start it off with I'll give you an easy one. What is your favorite movie?
Oh God, that is such a hard one.
I know it's a hard one. I always say it's easy, but it's extremely difficult.
Yeah, I
Okay,
just got
how about this?
ask
How about
this question. Let's do another question.
How about I'm going to make it easier for you?
That.
I watch a lot of movies, so I completely understand where you're coming from. What is the best movie you've seen in the last 6 months?
Oh,
That makes it. I feel that makes it a little easier.
Man, that is a really good question too. I'm just trying to think. Last 6 months. I'm killing you here. I know.
That's okay.
I give you TV shows.
Sure.
Go with
Whatever's easiest for you.
Yeah, I mean, series, I would just say, this isn't even recent, but I watched it, was True Detective Season 1. That shit was awesome. I mean, that was, like, legendary to me, one of the best seasons of television ever made. Season 2, terrible. Season 3, better, but not quite Season 1. Certainly a lot better than Season 2, though. Anyways.
I don't think I ever watched Season 3 because I hated Season 2 so much.
See, everybody was
Season 2
shitting.
was a joke.
Everybody was shitting on Season 2. I watched it kind of knowing that everybody was shitting on it. I didn't think it was awful. Like it was obviously it was nowhere close to Season 1.
Well, you had the hindsight of knowing.
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
Like,
if you go
we
in,
were all watching it at the time where it was like, all right, the Season 1 was awesome. Let's,
I mean, it wasn't great.
Keep going.
But yeah, Season 1. Oh, I mean that was quality television. Okay.
All right.
Bunch of what's yours?
Here's one. If I always like this one. If you could have any celebrity make you dinner tonight, who would it be and why?
Oof, this is a good question. So you got to think about this twofold, right? Who's going to be a good cook and who's going to be an entertaining guest that you want to spend some time with?
Yep.
So, I was having this discussion the other day, and this is kind of probably going to seem like a waste of an answer, but man, if I could have dinner with anybody right now, one of the 5 people, I like, no questions asked, Dave Chappelle. I grew up on the guy, and I don't think anyone's funnier than him.
Not a wasted answer. That'd be great, but I don't know if Dave Chappelle is cooking you dinner.
Yeah, I know he's married to a Filipino woman who's an excellent cook. Maybe he could bring her. That would be great.
These Chappelles.
I mean, dude, he just cracks me up so much. It just feels like a ingrained piece of my childhood. I actually saw him at a Warriors game once. He was a few rows ahead of me. And it was like the only time I've really been starstruck. Don't really care about Hollywood and actors and actresses and music stars. But man, that was like, I wanted to say hi to him and thank him. But any case, that's one.
I wanted Buncha to go into a Dave Chappelle impression so bad just now.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could do one justice. I probably could. I'll get back to you on that one.
Bunchy will sometimes kick out a great impression unknowingly.
I mean that skit series was so good. I mean, that was like my friends and I still quote that stuff to this day. But.
My favorite
every
one.
day.
If you haven't seen it yet, he hosted Saturday Night Live. I want to say maybe 2 years ago. And one of the film sketches, you know how like half of Saturday Night Live now is basically just film stuff. They did a fantastic one where they spoofed the Negan scene from The Walking Dead, and it was a bunch of Dave Chappelle characters that he was killing off from the show. If you have not seen it yet, after you're done this, go on YouTube, just Google Dave Chappelle SNL. It's about a 7-8 minute clip. You'll die. It's some of the funniest stuff, especially if you love the Chappelle Show stuff. It is phenomenal. So yeah, highly recommend.
Awesome. I will 100% check it out. And just a quick shout out, Ricky Gervais has really flown up my list recently, man. That whole Hollywood speech he gave at the Academy Awards, man, I was dying. I was like, this is so good. This makes me so happy. But anyways,
my wife, one of her celebrity crushes is Ricky Gervais.
Really?
So yeah,
from a looks perspective, that's tough to wrap your head around.
Well, that's what I always say. I'm like, I'm not really sure what that says about me.
You're definitely more handsome, I would say.
I like to think I'm very funny, so I think that maybe that's what I got going out of it, but I don't know.
Actually, Ricky Gervais is what got me into listening to podcasts. He had like one of the first podcasts like 7 or 8 years ago. It was fantastic. I think HBO made cartoons out of the podcast. If you ever go back and watch the old HBO shows, but yeah, I've been watching their stuff for a long time. He
seems to be well-rounded too.
I mean, I don't know if he's Dave Chappelle level yet, but
nobody's that level for me, man. That's like it's going to be impossible. It's just too ingrained in my upbringing.
Yeah, but nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that statement.
Yeah.
Okay, I got another
question
here for you. This is one of my favorite ones. What is your favorite conspiracy theory? And we'll include like paranormal stuff in there too, if there's anything that tickles your fancy.
My friends listening to this are gonna die, man. I get so much heat for my belief that we actually have had UFOs land here, and that we do at some place somewhere in New Mexico, wherever it may be, we have some artifacts and or full-fledged equipment.
There's nothing wrong with that statement.
I don't even care if it's wrong. It just keeps me happy. I mean, to me, there's no question. There's got to be intelligent life. There's just statistically, it is ridiculous to think there isn't. Why they come visit us, who knows? But I like that one. I think from a comical perspective, I won't go down the anti-vaxxer thing because we'll have a whole comment thread there. That's pretty funny to me. But the chemtrails thing that just kind of like took over the internet for a bit. I die. That one kills me.
That is a weird one.
I just don't get it at all. No. It makes me laugh. I love reading people's defense of it. So, anyways,
that's funny. All right. So let's go with another one here. My favorite one to ask. What is or would be your go-to karaoke song?
Oh wow, God, that is a good question.
You gotta get up and do karaoke. We got one song to do it. What is it?
God, I'm so I'd have to think about this for a second. I mean, everyone's got to hear it, or what just comes to mind immediately here. I could do the regular white guy thing, like Living on a Prayer, or Sweet Caroline or something. But I don't know, man. I like to think of myself as more of an R&B singer, so it's probably had to be something in that direction.
A little bump and grind.
Yeah, a little Pony by Genuine.
We could either one of those are in the wheelhouse, guys.
Yeah, heck yeah.
All right,
that's funny.
You want to get into the last little bit here so we can get Evan off in a timely fashion.
All right, we're going to do 3 here. So we're going to do 3. So what we're going to do here, everybody who listens to this show knows that we like to draft obscure things and put them out on polls for people to vote on. Last time, Evan, we saved you you missed one away. We drafted the months of the year last episode.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that went really well.
It went
I think I kicked your ass.
You did kick my ass, and it went surprisingly well.
Yeah. This time we're going to, in the vein of the episode, talking about collectibles and sports cards and cards in general. We're going to draft the best sports rookie cards. So any rookie cards from any sport that you would want to hold on to, either from a collection standpoint or a monetary standpoint. You can use any sport. We'll do 3 each.
So I'm going to put a little caveat in here.
Okay.
All right. So the caveat is, if we're going to do 3, you need to pick 1 baseball, 1 basketball, 1 football.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
like
your
that.
team can be any combination.
That makes the strategy of when to draft what very difficult.
Is this across all history, or is this rookies now?
Across
all history of rookies. Yeah.
Oof.
So you could have anything you want anytime. Yeah. So if it just magically appeared for you tomorrow, what would you pick? So we'll go Evan first, Chamber second. I'll go last.
All right. So what do you guys want to start with? Want to do MLB first?
No, you can pick
go
them in any order, but your team has to have one of each.
Okay, so I got to have 1 baseball, 1 basketball, 1 football.
Yeah.
Okay, so for baseball, just from doing research in the space, from a monetary standpoint, I'm greedy. I'd want to get the most money out of the baseball one because I don't have much nostalgia to baseball. I didn't play, don't care about it, but I'd go Ty Cobb. I know that rookie card was massively valuable, a couple $1 million if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah, so that's that.
That's
I'm not a huge baseball guy, I'm sure Willie Mays, some other people would have been really valuable. I know that one's valuable. And I'm pretty sure the dude stabbed people with his cleats on second base.
He
so that's
definitely did.
Interesting. So that's baseball. I don't know if you guys want to go through on your baseball ones and we'll hit basketball or
yeah, we go snake draft style. So Chambers up here. What do you got, Chamber? You can go any order you want.
I'm gonna go. You know where I'm going. I don't want to leave this to chance. I'm going with probably a more valuable card than it was in 2019. I'm going to go with the Kobe Bryant rookie card.
Oh, good man.
I knew you were going to go there. Yep.
I can't leave Kobe on the table like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's your go-to guy. So I knew that was coming. I'm going to go with, let's see. So I'm going to take, I think, Evan probably took the biggest, most valuable baseball card. There's probably, one other one that I could come back to later. I'm not sure if I'll get it, but I'm going to go with the top of the line football prospect or rookie card that I could think of. That would be a Tom Brady rookie card. One of them, one Tom Brady rookie card, a PSA 10 graded rookie or BGS 9.5 or whatever, I forget it was, went for $400,000 at an auction.
Holy
recently.
smokes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm going with a Tom Brady rookie card.
Now you get another
Wrong
pick.
with Tom Brady.
Now you get another pick.
I go again, right?
Yeah.
Because it's snake.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'll go back and take I'll take my baseball. I'll go with the Honus Wagner.
That is the
card.
other one. Good for you.
Yeah, the Honus Wagner. That's the other really, really crazy valuable one.
I don't even know how to spell that. How do you spell that? Honus? Honice?
No.
Who is this person?
I think it's Honus.
NUS? Honus?
Yeah. I think.
Wow.
I'm not sure, but it's not what you said.
No, it's not. Honus Wagner? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honewag. All right.
It's good old Hone.
Okay, my turn now? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to go, I guess I'll do a baseball one first. I'm going to go with, I think it might not be a valuable one. I think he's a good baseball player. I might be wrong. I'm going to go with Nolan Ryan.
All right.
No, I don't know. That seems like a good rookie card.
I like
It's not the worst.
The question mark.
Nolan Ryan,
So-
question mark.
The problem with your Nolan Ryans are, like I said before, there's a ton of them.
Okay.
So you're not going to get the crazy scarcity of them. You know what I mean?
I don't know who Honus Wagner is or an equivalent. Actually, okay, scratch that.
You should look him up also. It's funny, man. It's just such a different era.
Can I
yeah,
redraft?
it's from-
Can I redraft?
I think that's a good
Yeah.
pick for money-wise, by the way.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'll stick.
Oh, wait, the not the Nolan Ryan one, but the Honus.
Honus Wagner.
The Honus Wagner
Yeah,
baseball
yeah.
cards from 2013. T206 Honus Wagner baseball card sets $2.1 million auction mark.
Okay, can I switch mine? I didn't know. I didn't realize the
Yeah, you
market
can
was
switch
flooded.
yours.
Can I go with like a Montreal Jackie Robinson? Did he play for Montreal back in the day?
Ooh, I
like that one.
nice.
I feel like that's got to be more expensive, right?
I don't know, but we'll go with that. It will be more expensive than Nolan Ryan.
All right, cool. I feel good about that one.
All right, so you got your baseball and your basketball out of the way. I have my football and baseball out of the way, and now Evan, you get two picks here to close yourself out.
2 picks. All right, so football, I got to stick with the hometown team, go with the 49ers, Joe Montana. Although Ronnie Lotto, they had some sort of like, finger chopped off Super Bowl game collectible around that. That'd be pretty sick. But I'm going to go with the more standard pick here and go Joe Montana. Basketball, man, you took Kobe. That was good. That was a good call. For multiple reasons outside of like lots of reasons. But gosh, basketball, man, part of me wants to draft Zion as like the outside pick because I just love the dude and I want to see him thrive. But you know what? I am going to go back a little bit here and I'm going to go with a Pistol Pete rookie card. I don't know why. I think that's got to be.
Was he like? Is that a New Orleans Jazz?
Yeah, New Orleans Jazz.
Yeah, that's nice.
It seems like it would have some value to somebody there, especially with because the Utah Jazz. What a ridiculous name for Utah.
Right? That's the Jazz is the least. Utah is the least jazziest state in the whole continuous.
Yeah, that always cracks me
the
up.
New Orleans Mormons.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Pete Maravich. Okay, so Evan closes out his team with Ty Cobb, Joe Montana, and Pete Maravich. I'm gonna close my team out. So I have Kobe Bryant, Jackie Robinson. I'm going. Call me dark, but I like O.J. Simpson rookie card for my football.
God, that is a good call.
I like an O.J. Simpson rookie card.
I don't know who you're selling that to.
I like
Maybe
it.
OJ's mom.
Hey. OJ really has got a sweet spot, apparently,
I'm sure it does. I really bet it does. All right, my last pick for basketball, I was going to pick Zion because I was sure that one of you guys would take either Jordan or LeBron. I feel like now that Jordan's there, I have to go with Jordan. So I'll take the Michael Jordan rookie cards. The other, the appeal of Zion is like this new modern day boom. And if he's like the next big thing, then who knows what his prices would do.
Yeah, but he's also got a lot of time, man, to print cards and sign autographs. Mm-hmm. He seems pretty nice too. You kind of want to go back to somebody who may not be alive or cards weren't as
Jordan's notoriously an asshole, right?
But Jordan's cards are valuable, and like Jordan is so like the thing with when you're taking these guys that have already played their career is their cards most likely won't go down, right? Like something would have to happen where he, like Kobe, he passed away, his cards went way up. You know what I mean? So like Jordan's the safe investment there. You know,
that's your tether.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, all right, we got Evan with Ty Cobb, Joe Montana, Pistol Pete, Chamber with Kobe, Jackie Robinson, and OJ.
The juice is loose.
And I got Tom Brady, Honus Wagner, and Michael Jordan.
Man, you got some safe, good picks there.
Yeah, I'm rich.
I love living in a world where Michael Jordan was the last pick in a rookie card draft.
I know. I can't believe that happened.
I feel good about that. Kobe went second, and Jordan went last.
I bet that it will, like, if we didn't put the stipulation that you needed one from each sport, you guys probably would have scooped up all the basketball guys, and I would have not been left with one. But anyway, that is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for your time. That was a really fun conversation. Before we let you go, if you just want to tell people where they can find you, where they can find Wax, where they can find this cool blockchain card project, floor is yours.
Yeah, I'll start with the most relevant stuff. So, tops.wax.io. You can go on there. You can actually put in your email address and sign up to win one of the inaugural packs. So, in the spirit of collecting rare collectible cards, there will be finite rarity with these, provable finite rarity. Not making very many of this first series too, so I think it's actually kind of cool. You can always go to wax.io, and then for Twitter, it's probably the easiest way to follow me is at Evan Vandenberg. So at Evan_Vandenberg, sorry.
Awesome. Well, you are known for your tweet storms.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty active
your hot
on
take
social
tweets.
media. I get a lot of criticism for how much I post.
I don't think we said this on air. We were trying to defend that tweet, but he doesn't tweet enough. So,
actually, last night I did made one about the politics stuff, but that's all right. We don't have to go into that.
Yeah, but just one that doesn't help us for a whole segment, man.
Yeah, and it was anti-socialism, which, to be honest, isn't like a super controversial statement anyways.
Especially not in crypto.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, no. But next time we have you on, maybe you'll make one or two more tweets before that.
Yeah,
so.
I'll be sure to make some controversial tweets, guys, just for you.
Absolutely. And even if you don't, in the meantime, the night before the show, just fire off a bunch of really shitty things. And
that I can do for you guys. All right.
All right, man. Thank you so much. And that's going to do it for us. Check us out on coinhq.tv, at coinhq_ on Twitter, and all of our normal REKT podcast platforms. Until next time, don't get wrecked, and that is financial advice.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. You can help support us by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and become a REKT patron by signing up for a monthly tier on patreon.com. That's patreon.com/REKT podcast. Don't get wrecked.